Hey guys, Brent Hull, Wednesday Design Videos. Watching college football this last weekend, saw an ad, had to stop. I've got a problem with what's being shown on TV. Come join me. This sheet is blank because I got nothing, okay? This is gonna be a little bit of a rant because, guys, this can't be our houses that we build. And I'm watching, college football on Saturday afternoon, and this video comes on with a famous window company highlighting the fact that if you want great windows, you need to use this brand. Guys, this is an ugly house, okay? Let me go ahead and say what I really think. Not only that, but these windows are incredibly ugly. Not only are they stuck out on the face of the building, which I've talked about before, that historically windows never sat out on the face of the building like this. That detail saves the window companies money. They're doing that so that their jamb doesn't have to be as thick or as wide. They're doing that because it's cheaper and faster, okay? So now you've got these, look at all the different sizes of windows, but basically they're blank holes, okay? There's no divided light, and they're black, okay? What in the world are we doing, guys, making our windows black, okay? Black disappears, black goes away. And so, that whole white box, modern farmhouse movement, which is dead, okay, quit doing it, has these black windows in there. It is an ugly way of organizing and putting a house together because it ends up reading like a black hole. We need divided lights. We need to create scale and proportion. We need depth so that there's meaning here. This style of this house is the same style of house we've been building for the last 40 or 50 years. It's that city house, right? Where you see all these different peaks and valleys and go, it looks like a little city on a hill. Because we're now into the 2020s, these used to be big, tall things. I don't know if you remember those in the 80s, that you would have all these gables facing the street, but they were very, very tall gables. Now we got a little low gable, and that's because the barn dominium and barn architecture is taking over things. And basically this house is designed as a barn. It's an ugly barn with this faux board and batten detailing. They threw stone in here just so they could have a mix of materials. And what's happening is we are creating houses in order to create interest from the street. It's a curb appeal campaign. Our curb appeal is getting worse and worse. Unfortunately, there's two guys here that are promoting this as if putting their stamp of approval on this. Maybe they shouldn't get the stamp of approval. Ironically, one of these guys is an AD this month. And so here he is promoting ugly architecture, ugly design, non-design. I mean, this is not designed around any architectural style, any kind of philosophy. And if we're going to look at our architecture that we're building in America and the houses that we're putting together and what it says about us, this is a bad statement. This says that we care more about how things look from the street than how they really are. We care about the most square footage for the least amount of money. This is a problem, guys. This is unfortunately a sad place that we are relying on HGTV stars to tell us what's good and what isn't, and HGTV stars to tell us what quality is. This isn't any of that. This isn't well designed. This isn't good quality. This isn't building a 100-year house. And I'm going to get off my soapbox here, but this is really frustrating. I got nothing. This house can't be fixed, okay, without starting over. And so this barn-dough kind of new big house with blank windows should not be the architecture that we build going forward. Historically, if you look at houses like a bungalow, or you looked at something in the arts and crafts period, or even the Victorian period, you had a design philosophy that put everything together. There was an organization, and in an arts and crafts period house, you had plain wood moldings. The hardware didn't have a lot of decoration on the hinges, and everything was flat and plain and simple, okay? The idea was that there was kind of this honest house, this honest look. They had just come from the Victorian period, so the Victorian period was over-ornamented, and so we went into a period of simplicity. Coming out of the McMansion era, okay, we began to start building the cottage style of the house. Chip and Joanna were really popular with their simplicity and the shiplap that they were doing. That was kind of back to an honest deal. And so if Victorian led to arts and crafts, then the McMansion led to kind of this simpler cottage look. What's happened though is now we're getting into this kind of barn world where there's so little detail. And I think people are afraid of ornamentation. They're afraid of being bold and the seriousness in how we're going to organize and make the front of the house. Where's the front? Where is the front door? It's hard to see. It isn't clear where you're supposed to go. And so what ends up becoming the important thing? Well, the labels and these brands that end up endorsing this look. And what it frustrates me is because it is like an endorsement of crap, and an endorsement of something that isn't beautiful, and something that, you know, all they're selling here, this is a window campaign, okay? And so they're selling these black holes that go in the side of a building. And there needs to be a push for beauty. There needs to be a push for good design that makes sense. And so this is showy in a weird way because it's basically highlighting barn architecture. And our houses are being reduced and reduced and reduced to brand names and to materials that we put on them, as opposed to being styled and organized and put together in a beautiful way. Let me know what you guys think, if anybody agrees. Okay guys, sorry to go on that rant there, but really it's frustrating to see beauty destroyed, right? And brand appeal and brand names really become this thing that all of a sudden sets a standard. Let me know what you guys think. I'm Brent Hull, thanks for watching.